What's up everyone, welcome to the video about how to tank Floodgate as Templar Prot Paladin. Now for the talents that I run on this dungeon, you can click on the video that is being shown to you on the screen to go see all the talents that I run on every single dungeon. There's also a spreadsheet in the description below where you can just copy the link and code of the talent and just import it to your own talent. But I'm not going to go in depth into the talent because on that video I went fully in depth about why I run XYZ. So let's get into Floodgate and route. For the routing, we're gonna start the key by skipping all the way to here. We're gonna go for the blood loss on the first pull and first boss to use it on Mama. The way that you want to skip it is that you want to hug this wall basically here on the left side as your perspective, or right side on the map here, and then drop like this, so you avoid pulling this pack and this pack at the same time. There is going to be two snipers here that is not shown on the map, but you will see it in the later in the video where we go over how we tanked it. This is just a route. If you pull the sniper, it's going to pull also the shredder, and it's gonna make everything messy and pretty much deplete your key. After that, we're gonna tag these two and tag this group here. Go up the stairs. Be careful not to ninja the boss. The boss is gonna be patrolling downward. Let it patrol a little, so fight these for like 1 second. Let it patrol a little, don't go instantly up the stairs, otherwise you're gonna ninja Big Mama. Then we're gonna tag the contractors here, and then go and tag the boss. Now you can also tag these two as a Prot Paladin, but I don't really like doing that. I rather one of my range DPS do that. So what I do is that I tell one of my range DPS before we start the key to go on the stairs down here. You want them to pull it from here or anywhere around this area. So these mobs basically will come from this direction, and they're not gonna pull the Dark Fuse Bloodwarpe, which is a big AoE, and again, if that gets pulled into the first pull that you're doing, it's gonna deplete the key. So the safest way to pull these guys into the pull is to do it from here, these stairs around here. But if they can also pull it around anywhere in this area as well, and it's not gonna pull it. After you do the first boss and the first pull, there's a trick to it on how to break it and make your dungeon be able to go forward, and it will be shown in the video later on when we go over the dungeon. So I will show the trick on how to activate this and break the weapons. After that, we do the pull 2, which is very simple. We go and tag these mobs in with our shield. If these guys are down, we tag them with the judgment. It's best to tag these guys with the shield, so you get aggro instantly on them instead of just judgmenting. Sometimes what I do is that I shield these guys and then aggro these guys with a judgment, and then go downstairs and do a divine toll to aggro everything. Or sometimes I just shield this guy into judgment, these guys go downstairs, divine toll everything. Basically, you're going to be tanking the mobs down here. You're not going to pull them up. It's way easier to tank them downstairs. Then we go on top, we do this pull, which is very simple and nothing really special about it. After that, we take the fly and go from fly to here. Now, one thing to note is that you can use abilities while you're flying. So if you don't have holy power, try to generate it by using your hammer. And when you go down before you pull, use your Shield of the Righteous to get the buff. We're gonna tag these guys with while flying. When you get to stairs, you can tag these guys with a judgment, and then tag these guys with your shield, and then go tag these guys with another judgment, and then go to here, use divine toll, and then basically the pull starts. You can use ardent as well if you don't feel like you're safe. You can use Eye of Tear as well, which is basically your opener, and you should use that. The way that I like to start this pull is that after I pull the Architect, when this guy comes in and gets interrupted, after he gets interrupted from his cast that he does Surveying Beam, and then I pulled this group in as well. So we're gonna have two main casters, two hyenas, which their cast isn't as important to kick, but it's a good thing to kick anyways. And then these two main casters, you can easily cancel and just play the pull. Now, one thing to note is that if you see that the survivors are targeting the same person together with the dynamite cast, which is uninterruptible, you have to either CC them if they're doing it on the same person, or sack that person if we don't have CC. So make sure to pay attention to that. After the hyenas die and the surveyors die, we pull these two with these two, and then go upstairs and pull this. Make sure to look at the patrol first. Make sure it's not around here. Otherwise, if you pull this, you're going to pull the patrol as well, which is going to deplete your key. So be very careful of that. So after we pull all of these, we fight them a little down here. If the patrol is good, immediately horse up and go up, and then pull this and go downstairs as well. So that's going to be for pull 4. Pull 5 is where we're going to bloodlust. So we go in, we tag these guys with the Avenger shield. Then you want to stand around here, jump and throw your judgment to one of the contractors here. And then we go in toward these guys and use Divine Toll, and also pull these guys in as well. Then use Eye of Tear, and your pull starts like that. We will lose, again, blood loss on this pull, and we just blast it. After that, we will be activating this stockpile, and then as your tank, you horse up and go down here and activate this one, because remember, we don't activate it after the pull 4 ends because it's chain pull back to back to back, and we don't want to waste time, so we activate it while this is being activated. Once the pull dies, you horse up and run to here and activate it yourself. After that, we go for pull 6, which is very simple. You go and tag in these two guys, then you go up like here, you jump here, and then you start the pull by tagging these guys as well. Now you want to tell your team to go from this side, to not follow you. The reason why is because when these divers do their cast, if your allies are up here and they're casting, the cast actually does nothing. It's like they're LOSing the cast, and the cast doesn't go through, even though it goes through, but the cast actually doesn't start to damage them. So it's a very good thing to note to your teammates. If they start to follow you and there's a cast going through, it can become very messy, and there's a high chance one of your allies die. So if everyone's up here, these guys will also follow you up here, and they don't do cast at all. And then you just start to pull with a Divine Toll and play around it. Now, another thing that you want to be very careful is that these divers will plant a bomb. And if you touch the bomb, you go flying, and it does a lot of damage. Be very careful of those bombs. You want to kite the pull toward the stairs. You don't want to kite it down here. And the reason why is because if anyone accidentally touches the bomb, or there's a trinket, or there's an ad like they have, like a DK mob, that can pull this pack, and we don't want that. So yeah, be very careful of that. After this pull, we go up the stairs, and we go pull these two by target focusing one of them. I always mark skull on one of them and tell my team to focus one. And then we tag these guys with a shield, and tag these guys with Divine Toll shield. And then the pull goes, and it's a very, very simple pull. Just make sure to use your defensive correctly. Then we go on pull 8, and which is the boss fight. And again, all of these will be explained more in detail when we go over dungeon run. And then we go on pull 9, which is a very dangerous pull if you don't interrupt the cast that they have. So make sure to use your blind judgment, HUD, to interrupt the cast. And I don't mean the cast that makes them heal, which is called restorative. I don't mean that. That you can interrupt, of course. It's not that big of a deal, but the cast that they spin around is the dangerous one. And then we go and do the boss, and we go downstairs. So for downstairs, we're going to be skipping bubbles. In this route, it's not going to be the route that it will be shown in the video today. However, I'm just showing you guys the route of it, and then we will also have a route for not skipping bubbles, which is slightly different. It's not that big of a difference. So basically, you want to kill this pack here, and then you're gonna use water walking from either DK or Shaman, and use an invis pot and go like this all the way to stairs. And then when you go to stairs, you pull the big guy, and then the pull starts. But be very careful that when you're starting this pull, use a defensive to start it, preferably Ardent, because when you're doing this escape, you're not going to have your Shield of the Righteous buff instantly. so you're gonna get hit pretty hard at the beginning of it. So it's really good to start the pull with a defensive until you gain that Shield of the Righteous to stabilize yourself in the pull. After that, we go and do the pull 13. We go in and tag these two, and then come back and then tag these two. After that, we go for skipping here. You want to Mind Soothe or Invis or anything that distracts these two chargers. Casters, sorry. And then you go like it's going to be shown in the video here. You go and skip it by hugging the right wall. And it's a very easy skip, but you have to be very careful to just go into the hole. If you don't go into the hole, you're going to be pulling the pack. So you go into the hole all the way to the right, and then you easily skip it. Then we go for pull 14. Very simple pull as long as you use your defensives. And then last boss. So that's pretty much it for basically this route with skipping bubbles. Now for the route that you don't want to skip bubbles and you want to kill it, you basically on the number 2 pull, you take these two inspectors, which are the frontal guys, into the pull 2, which doesn't add any difficulty to the pull whatsoever. And then you go downstairs and kill bubbles. That's it. No big change, nothing special. So let's get into the run and we'll review it bit by bit. And I will go through what my thought process was on this run. So at the beginning, as I said, we will continue like this and skip the pull. As I said, be very careful of these snipers, and you want to hug the left wall like this. You don't need invis pot or anything like that, and then you just go from here and you jump to the car down here. You can jump from above, or you can just drop down without even jumping, and it's not going to pull anything. So you basically go like that. Make sure to show this to your team before you start the run, so none of them accidentally ninja one of these guys. If you ninja, it's going to be game over. You go down here, and I use my Bastion of Light before the run start. Make sure when you do the pull timer 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On 1, use your Bastion of Light. It will reset this cooldown, and you will have your extra 3 Holy Power generator on your 5 Judgment that you get. So we use a Judgment with extra Holy Power. We immediately cast Shield of the Righteous for the buff. And then we pull these guys with a shield. Like that. We're gonna wait here a little. As I said, the boss is patrolling. If you go upstairs immediately, you're gonna pull the boss. So we're gonna wait a tiny bit for the boss to go. Now that it's safe, we continue to go. We're gonna go and tag these guys in. And then we go and pull the boss. I pop wings and divine toll. There we go. And then basically we start blasting. One of the ranges basically pulled that. As you can see, you can pull it from there as well. They didn't come down here. They just pulled it from here. You see this line? The second line from the stairs that starts here. Anywhere after this line is good to pull these guys. But before that, if you pull it, they're going to go like that. And they're going to pull the AoE guy. And yeah, we start blasting. We're going to use Eye of Tear most likely here. Yeah, there it is. For the first tank buster, we Eye of Tear. And we basically continue the pull. And then we tag these guys in to get aggro over them. And tag that guy as well here. And I usually like to, on the second tank buster that comes in, I like to use bubble because the pull is still fairly big. So it's really good to just use bubble and have the breathing room for myself and just continue DPSing instead of having to worry about anything. So I use bubble there, and then we continue the pull. Okay, so here is when we basically phase the boss. One more thing that you want to tell your team is to phase the boss as quick as possible inside the BL. It's very good to phase the boss when you have BL and you can blast it even more. But it's fine if you don't, it's not the end of the world. But make sure to phase it before the shield, otherwise it's gonna be a big no-no. So we're gonna phase it right there, and then we killed every mob as well at the same time. So here comes the next tank buster. I always like to hold my Divine Toll, so when the adds spawn, I Divine Toll to instantly get aggro over them. And then I also pop wings here and continue blasting. I have 100% spell block here, but I also pop my Ardent. You can survive it with 100 spell block. On a 15, you don't die. But it was for me just a safety thing. I'm just going to use it. Why not? And then I should use the free hammer here for self-healing. There it is. I self-heal. with that, and I should use wogs. You should use a lot of wogs on this because this dot actually hurts a lot. So you want to be very careful of that dot. And basically, the rest of this pull is that you rotate your defensives and continue kicking. Every time that there's a tank buster, try to have 100% uptime on your block chance. And then basically how to get that for people that who don't know, you cast your Avenger Shield, it gives you 10%. You cast your Word of Glory, it gives you 30%. So you want to have a raw block chance of 60. If you look at your character panel, it's going to show 52. However, you will have a talent that will give you 8% that is not shown in um, the the character panel. So if you have 52 on character panel, that means that you're good. And if you cast your Word of Glory and Avenger Shield, you will get that 100%, which reduces the damage of the tank buster by 33%, which allows you to survive it without any defensive. But you have to instantly heal up after that because the dot will gonna kill you. So either it's gonna be on the healer or you healing yourself after that to just survive that with only tank buster. You can also survive the tank buster by using your spell ward or using your bubble, of course. But so don't be shy to use that spell ward. It's totally fine to use it here. You don't really need it on the pulls outside of this. After the boss dies, we go up here and you want to trigger this without pulling these mobs. How to do that is that you see this line, you want to RP walk and do a slow walk. So you trigger that, and it's a specific frame. Where it is that you see this block right here. It's gonna be on the left, and you want one of your feet to be on this block. So you see like that, like it's a tiny bit of my character is on top of it, the block, and the rest of it is out of it. And then when you click it, it's not gonna trigger aggro. If you're even a tiny bit over that, like more to the right or more forward, it's gonna aggro these mobs in the middle of the cast. So you want to line yourself with this block here, with this, and then you also want a tiny bit of your foot to be on top. That's pretty much it. You do this, and then you go pull these two. As I said, this review that we're doing, we decided to not skip bubbles, so we killed bubbles. We tagged these guys in with a judgment, and then we tagged those guys in with a divine toll because my shield was on cooldown. Otherwise, I would have used shield. And then pop wings, and basically this pull starts. It's a very, very easy pull. You just wanna blast it most likely, and sometimes use Ardent. I think here I should use Ardent soon. Yeah, there it is. We use Ardent, we interrupt the cast. Your main goal here is to interrupt the cast of snipers because they do a lot of damage. The hyenas cast don't really matter that much. Don't try to interrupt it as much. Your prior focus should be interrupting the cast of snipers. And I think I use bubble here as well just to be safe, because why not? Actually, I don't. Yeah, I just survive it by Eye of Tearing. So I use Ardent once, Eye of Tear another time after it came off cooldown. Very easy pull. Yeah, we go up here. So here is a pull where most of your allies are not going to have CDs at the beginning, as you can see. And basically no one has CDs but Boomy and Mage here. And they only have it because it's a short cooldown. But if you don't have these guys, and for example, you have a shaman, they're probably not going to have CDs for this pull. So you want to help your healer as much as possible because it's probably going to take a little while to kill this pull, and it's a dangerous pull for a healer when they run out of stuff. So if you have a spell ward someone. If you have lay on hands and you see someone dropping super low, lay on hands them. But don't usually do it on the first AoE, because the first AoE, usually the healer will have their spells ready and ramp up ready. But on the second one, they will be kind of dry. So mainly use it for the second one instead of the first one. And make sure to also CC this demolition guy here so you don't have to run and spread across like that. So here I should hodge it. There it is. And yeah, we do the kick on the sniper. We do the kick on the Bloodwarpe as well. And the next cast, I think I blind that. And yeah, I use blind. And yeah, it dies. Simple as that. After the whole dies, one person will activate the weapon right there. And we go to here with the fly. So as I said, you can use abilities while flying. So I'm hammering here to get holy power, as you can see. And then I'm gonna pull this with a shield and pull that with a judgment. The reason why I pull this with a shield is so it gets silence and it starts walking toward you instead of instantly just waiting there and casting. And then we pull the hyenas, we go in, I use IFT, I think. Let me make sure what I use. I usually have IFT ready here, however I have a free hammer so I don't use IFT. But basically if you have IFT ready, after you do that pull and you're running like this, I use IFT. And I use Divine Toll after that, and basically the pull starts. On this pull, I also use, or should use Ardent when I have it ready here. Yep, I use it instantly. The pull hurts quite a bit for tank, so try to rotate your defensives around. But yeah, that's it. And then we should pull this in as well, but I don't think I do in this run. But as you saw, after we kick this surveyor guy here, the main cast that is about to cast right here, after kicking it, it's good to pull the pack down there, but I decided to pull this in instead. That's also totally fine. You can either pull this or pull down there. Both of them works. Yep. And then we continue to pull. Nothing special. And we tag these guys in. When the other caster died, we tag these guys in. So we have the divers and the architect and surveyor now to deal with. I should go in and tag the crabs as well right now because we're kind of wasting time here. This could have been much faster if right now I go and tag the crabs, but I waited for the architect to die, which was a mistake. But yeah, that's a mistake from me here. I should have tagged them much earlier and then go upstairs and tag these guys. Like right now, we should be doing this pull immediately. But yeah, not the end of the world. So yeah, we do this pull, nothing special about it, and then we go on to the next one. So right here, we have Bloodlust. As I said, we Bloodlust this pull. If you don't have Bloodlust and you're too quick, you Bloodlust the pull after this pull. So you go in, you will pull these guys with a shield, jump, and use your hammer, judgment on these guys, and you pull them in. You pull those guys in, use Divine Toll to get aggro over everything, use Eye of Tyr as your opener if you have it. If you don't, use Ardent. I decided to use both because at the beginning of this pull, I'm not stabilized at all. So it's really good to help me stabilize, and then I should pop wings and just start blasting as you can see here. We also blood loss, and then we continue blasting. If you run out of defensive, I should use Guardian after my Ardent here. Oh, I got a tier proc, so I didn't use it. But I see that I'm fine. I don't really need a defensive yet, but I should use Guardian. There it is. So yeah, I use Guardian to just help the healer out and survive much easier. And use Bubble as well if really needed, or ask for external, but I don't think I saw a need for it. I should use Ardent again if anything, but no, the pull is dead. So yeah, it's a very easy pull. And as my team triggers this one, I run with the horse and trigger that one over there. Yeah. After this, we go and pull these guys here. So here I didn't tell my team to go from the stairs. Again, you want to tell your team to just go up here and wait for you here while you do the pull. So we pull these guys, we pull that, and we run in. You go here, jump up, pull that, use IFT as your opener, and then Divine Toll I should do. Yep, there it is. But yeah, as you can see here, it's actually really good that it's shown in this run. So you see, my allies are up here, all of them. This guy is casting the harpoon. But as you can see, the cast actually doesn't go through. Boomy doesn't get a cast at all. So the cast does nothing if everyone is up here and the guy is down there. Sure, they don't join the pull as quickly, but it's not the end of the world. But yeah, this pull is very simple. As I said, kite them down here so no one touches the bomb accidentally and runs into that group up there and pulls them and ninjas them. After that, we go up here. I mark the right one with a skull. And we tag them with Judgment and Shield. I tag that group, Judgment and Shield of the Righteous, not Avenger Shield. And I tag these guys with Avenger Shield, so they run in. And I tag these guys with Divine Toll, so they run in. Yeah. And this will continues. You just want to rotate your defensives. I like to use Ardent when these are about to cast. So here I didn't use Ardent because I use Eye of Tyr instead, and that is enough for me. But when Shredder casts the wheels that spawn from the ground, I like to use Ardent, so if there's something, because you cannot avoid the wheels once they spawn. So it's good to have that extra defensive, so if there are melee coming with that first tick of that wheel, you can die, so it's just good to have the defensive running just to be safe. Yeah, we killed these guys. We go in and we chain it into the boss. Our healer has 50 mana, which is totally fine, not the end of the world. And this boss is very simple. The main thing that you want to be careful about is that, first of all, the defensive and the tank buster that Brunt does on the tank doesn't hurt at all. If you're 100 HP, like you can see here, it's going to cast a tank buster. There it is. I'm 80%. I go down to 55. It doesn't do that big of a deal, and you don't really need to use any defensive for it. So it's a very chill pull. Only use defensive if you're low on HP. And then when the bombs spawn in, so when the bombs spawn, the boss is gonna do a cast on one enemy ally, which is dispellable. As you can see, it casted on Boomy here. That cast is dispellable, and when it gets dispelled, any bomb that is in this circle will explode and go, as you saw there. So I always tell my team to don't dispel the bombs close to us, because I move the boss on top of that bomb. So when the boss does a charge, it's basically a free bomb being charged. So here, as you can see, I moved it on top of the bomb. Boss does the charge. Here it goes, and it just explodes that bomb and it goes away. So we don't have to worry about that bomb at all. And another thing that you have to make sure that you know is that the last charge, basically the boss is going to do 3 charges. The final charge is always on you as a tank. So if you see that your team failed to break a bomb by the end of the second charge, make sure to just horse up and go to it so you break that instantly. But yeah, after the third charge, boss also does another dispellable knockup. So if there is one bomb left after the charge, your ally can go to it and healer dispels it, and that's it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this boss. Nothing really special about it. We go on to the next pull. So this pull, as I said, is a very dangerous pull for the group. We have to have a lot of CCs and interrupts. So we begin the pull by Wings and Divine Toll. We pull them in. I should use Eye of Tear as well. There it is. That's my opener usually. Divine Toll, Eye of Tear, Wings is my main opener. So as you can see, they do a lot of damage. So you want to cancel their cast. How to do that is by hard CC, like a knock up or your blind or your Hodge. So I see that they cast here. There it is. I Hodge. There it is. And as you can see, they deal a lot of damage. And we just rotate our interrupts and hard CCs. As you can see, I track them here. So on the next one, I should use blind. Yeah, there it is. I just used blind there. And now it's left to the rest of the group. I have nothing left to help with the CCs. So on the next one, there's the Typhoon plus Vortex. Our Boomy used it. And then our Mage used it. Boom, boom. And now the only thing that we have is that one. But the pull is dead, so who cares? But yeah, we go to the third boss. So third boss, we use Bloodlust on CD. Once it's activated, as it says on the chat here. And then this boss is very easy on the tank. The only thing that you have to be careful of is when it does a tank buster, it does 2 sets of damages. One is physical, one is magical. You can reduce the damage by blocking that magical hit with having 100 spell block. Again, cast Avenger Shield, cast Word of Glory, get that 100 spell block to reduce the damage. However, here, since I use my Eye of Tear, I'm not really worried about it. And this tank buster hits quite a lot. If you don't have anything, it will one-shot you. It's like the first boss on 15. If you don't have a spell block, it will one-shot you. If you have a spell block, you go down to 25% HP with with heal absorb that it also puts on tank. So you have to immediately Word of Glory after it as well to remove that heal absorb and help your healer. In Pugs, basically there's a rule that you always go left when there is this frontal. So we always go left. And then the boss does a stack. We use AMZ for it. Basically, all you do as a tank is to dodge these and just DPS the boss in this phase. If you see that someone doesn't have a defensive and requires something extra, or your healer is dry, you sack the person or you spell ward. And then here comes a tank buster. I have 100% spell block. But I wasn't sure that I'm gonna be topped off instantly, so I think I use Ardent here. Yeah, I drop down, and because of that, I use Ardent just to be safe. But if you're again 100% HP, a spell block is totally fine, and you don't need anything else. Usually I use Ardent or Eye of Tier 4 after the AoE, because it's gonna be hard to be topped off. Yeah, that's it for this one. Now we go down, we do the bubbles. So for bubbles, you want to stack up for the bubbles that it spawns in. They hurt. We stack there. Not a really good stack, however. And then we stack on the left side. My rule is that I always stack right, left, down, right, left, down. Basically a triangle. Because by the time that these spawn, this is going to fade away. Yeah, on this pull is also very simple. As a tank, all you do is to basically just use Eye of Tear as your defensive. You don't even need to use Ardent. And pay attention that if someone needs a help, use Sack or a spell ward on the AoE. Because the AoE, this AoE that is casting Backwash here, is hurting a lot. As you can see with AMZ here, just look at the HPs. It goes down a lot and it hurts a lot. Even with AMZ, and our droid even popped defensive, which was wrong by them. But you can see how much it can hurt, and the healer just absolutely gets fucked on this pull. So be very ready to help that healer out. Okay, we go on to the next pull. This pull you want to open by hanging this guy in with a shield to silence it immediately. Otherwise, he just stands there and keeps casting, which is very annoying. So we tag that in, and then we pull the big guy in. You can also, if you want, tag these two guys in, but we decided not to because it's a very hectic pull, and having two casters and two frontal can make it even more hectic pull. So we decided not to do that here. The timer was fine, no need to risk it. However, if you want, you can do that. It's not that big of a deal as long as you interrupt this cast. That's the main thing. So yeah, we rotate defensives here. I use Arden and I have Tier. And also this Jumpstart does a tank buster before every AoE. So here, as you can see, it's casting the Spark Slam. You can also spell block that to reduce its damage, just so you know. So it's good to spell block it, just to help your healer out and help yourself out. Then we pull these two in after the caster died, and then we chain it. I have the full aggro, so I decide to go in with Horse and tag these guys in. So we tag them in, and as I said, we pull them out and then tag these two. So we tag them with Divine Toll and blast this pull. Yeah. And for the skip, you Mind Soothe these guys and you hug the right wall like this. So you go in this hole here, and once you reach here, you want to go right into the hole like that. Otherwise, you're going to pull. So make sure to do that. Just hug right and go. And then again, we mark one of these guys, we focus them. That's it. Our mage, I think Ninja pulled this before I pulled, so that was a little scary. On this pull, it's very hard on tank because you're going to have two tank busters and the big AoE is very hard on tank and healer. So make sure to rotate your defensives. I use Ardent and Eye of Tear at the beginning. Eye of Tear is my opener, Ardent after that for the tank buster. And then I should use Guardian. There it is. If you want, you can use a spell ward as well, but I personally like to hold a spell ward for the last boss. Or you can also use Bubble as well, which is totally fine. So I use Bubble here, yeah. And yeah, that's it for the pull. Make sure to also pull this, guys, after one of them dies. Pull it inside to trigger the RP. There's like a 5-10 second RP. So pull them in to trigger that RP. Alright, this boss is also very simple. This starts always with this AoE. So be ready to sack someone because the pull before this dries the healer. As you can see, our healer is instantly putting their dome down. It dries the healer down. So make sure to be ready to sack or spellward someone if they need it. Or even lay on hands them. Yeah, at the beginning as a tank, you're just blasting mainly and looking out for that. When it does the tank buster was nerfed pretty hard, so the initial damage of it doesn't really hurt that much. However, the dot hurts a lot. I just use Ardent for both, but look at how much damage the dot is doing to me. I cannot top myself up even though I'm using a Word of Glory. So be very careful of that dot. Just continue using your defensives for the tank buster. Now the boss spawns these sparks here. The spark that is fixated on you will be marked with a red arrow on top of it. So I see where it is, and I ping that I'm gonna move it to this puddle here. You bait the spark is gonna follow you as a character. You bait it into the water, so like that, easy peasy. And then the water gets electrified. Make sure to not stand in that electrified water because you get stunned and continuously take damage. If that happens, you want your priest to grip you out or use bubble or something. It's gonna be a very long stun. So here comes the next one, which is the next tank buster. I use a spell ward for it. So the initial hit, a spell ward doesn't do much about it. It does reduce its damage, but as you can see, I'm still taking a lot of damage from it. It's just the fact that it removes a dot, and I don't have to worry about that at all. And another thing that you have to be very careful as a Prot Paladin is that if you see that your allies get targeted by the boss with this cast and the dot that it puts on someone also actually hurts a lot as well. So be ready to sack them because immediately it goes into the AoE after that. So if they use a defensive for this and then they're not going to have anything for the AoE, either use sack or as you saw here, we use AMZ, so I don't really need to sack. And personally, as a tank, you don't really need to go into the AMZ or anything as well because this AoE does nothing to you. But yeah, that's basically the boss. We bait the puddle. Now another thing is that you can also, if you see that you cannot bait the spark into a puddle, you can either bubble and eat it or spell ward and eat the spark. I think I have it shown here somewhere. So let me make sure to find it. Right here it should be, yeah. So here the spark is chasing me. I use bubble and just eat it. And easy peasy. The tank buster also gets blocked by the bubble as well. But yeah, that's it for Floodgate. If you guys have any question, make sure to leave a comment below. And I hope that this video helped you guys a lot to time those Floodgate keys. Until the next guide, Pooya out.